Hi everyone, I hope you're doing great today. Okay, so yesterday was extremely busy, especially for those of us who are keen watchers and followers of international politics dynamics, right? Yesterday was the day or the night that Israel came under a historic barrage of drone and missile attacks from Iran. Yeah. And we now understand that more than 300 drones were used in that attack. Of course, even Iran's dreaded hypersonic intercontinental ballistic missiles were also used, and a bunch of other weapons, right? But the funny thing is that this Iranian attack on Israeli soil, which is, of course, the first of its kind in decades, was so well choreographed, was very well telegraphed, to the point that Israel knew exactly when the bombs were going to arrive. They knew the time. They even knew the routes that the drones and the missiles were going to take, even though they didn't intercept all of them. But more than 99%, from 99 point something percent of all the weapons that were sent to Israel were intercepted. And that can only happen if you had a foreknowledge. And of course, Iranians intentionally made sure that Israel and Israel's allies knew exactly what they were coming to do, knew how they were going to do it, knew when they were going to do it, because they wanted the whole world to know that what they're doing is more like a statutory demonstration of a retaliatory attack on Israel for going all the way to Syria to bomb an Iranian consulate and killing Iranian officials. Senior military commanders were killed and some other officials were killed. And you know that consulate, when you are a country and you have a consulate in another country, that consulate is regarded as your country, actually your soil. So that was like killing Iranians on Iranian soil. That's what happened. And the Iranians were screaming blue murder, and they were crying out, like, why isn't anyone talking about this? This is a strong violation of established international treaties. Why aren't you guys talking? Nobody said anything. And so they said, okay, if nobody's saying anything, we have to do something. If we don't, our people will think we have been conquered psychologically by Israel. They will think that we are weak. And so they had to do something to just put up a face. That's why they had to tell the Israelis, like, look, we're coming. We're going to strike you. That's our response. But then, if you go beyond what we have done and then retaliate, even though we had made this to look like a statutory thing, if you then retaliate, okay, we are going to then unleash our arsenals on you, and the actual war is basically going to start. And now what they have handed Israel is the opportunity to decide the destiny or the fate of Iran. They didn't have that before. If Iran had decided, okay, you know what, these guys are crazy, we're not going to do anything, let's just leave them, just like Russia has been leaving these guys and punishing them in Ukraine, Israel wouldn't have the kind of edge they have over Iran now. But right now, Israel has an edge. And you know the whole of the West are behind Israel. Who are behind Iran? Not even the Arab nations in the Middle East. Iran is almost like a lone other than Russia and a few other allies. But you can compare Iranian allies to the Israeli allies. So now Israel is flexing. Israel is saying, okay, you have done this now, so now we are going to decide what to do with you. And there is panic all over the Middle East, all over the world. Because the next action that Israel takes, if Israel now strikes, you bet that there is going to be a World War III, for sure. Initially, when this was going on, everybody was like, okay, are they going to be able to tell Israel to come? I remember I was very active posting on Twitter, but I couldn't make any video because I've been extremely busy. Even this video I'm making now, and if you see the time I'm making this video, it's just that I said if I don't make this video, I may lose the opportunity of bringing you guys up to date. But when this whole thing was unfolding, I was actively posting on Twitter, back to back. And I remember posting a statement by the Iranian representative at the United Nations, where he said that what we have done is a conclusion of the matter. We are not sending any more than we had sent already. I think they even gave the number of missiles they were sending, the number of drones. They gave the number and the timelines of everything so that there would be next to zero casualties. And there was next to zero casualties, other than the little kid that was injured. So they gave everything. So they made a statement. They put out a statement. I said, this is a conclusion. But that if Israel then turns around to retaliate this, our action, which is also a retaliatory action, then we are going to engage Israel in a more brutal way. And then they went ahead to say, America, you are now warned to stay away because this is going to be a fight between us and Israel. That's if Israel retaliates. And so we all began to wonder, is Israel going to retaliate? Okay, what it means is that these guys have actually ended this whole thing. So after this night, no more barrages, nothing happening. So why can't Israel just take it as a win-win, given that Israel had already intercepted more than 99, you can say 99.5% of all the drones and the missiles and everything that they sent to Israel. Israel intercepted everything because they were put on notice. They were told what time the things were going to happen, when they were going to come to Israel. They were told what time the missiles and the drones were going to arrive. We were on just watching and hearing that this is going to come by so time. We're expecting it. It's left by so time. It's just like when a plane takes off and then you are I mean, who does that? If you really want to seriously attack someone, you don't tell them. You don't give all those details. But they did because they wanted this to be a statutory demonstration of their strength. They wanted to, save their faces and so they don't look weak before their people. But in doing that, they played into the hands of the Israelis. So while we were waiting and saying, will Israel listen? Will America talk to Israel and tell Israel to just forget because this is a win-win? Iranians are going to do the usual thing and act like big boys. Yes, we did it. We showed them so that the people will say, oh yeah, we did it, and they will celebrate. But Israel will look at them and say, you little babies, look at them. You sent your missiles and we caught all of them mid-air. What strength have you got to challenge us? You're nothing. Oh, please, get out of here. We were expecting that, but I knew deep down in my spirit that that was not going to come from the Israelis, because this is an opportunity they have been waiting for, they have been looking for so long. And I will break it down and tell you who and who stands to benefit from an Israeli retaliatory strike on Iran, because that is going to happen. And of course, as you can see, we didn't have to wait for too long before Bibi came out and said, for sure, Israel is going to retaliate. So that question was answered. But before he said that, I already analyzed that this was going to happen when I heard Joe Biden saying, that Israel should actually see this night as a win because nothing of worth was destroyed in Israel. Even the Israeli airbase that the hypersonic intercontinental ballistic missile of Iran hit, they didn't do a lot of damage there. So even though the missile hit the bases, flights were still taking off there. Planes were taking off and coming in from there. a few things that were destroyed. There were some places that fire came up and a ball of fire and stuff like that, but nobody died. Okay, so the damage was nothing compared to what would have happened if all that came as a surprise to Israel. The casualty figures would have soared like there's no tomorrow. But they were told because these guys didn't want casualties. Okay? So when Biden was saying to Bibi, take this as a win, I said to myself, the way Biden is talking, he's telling them, take it as a win. Back then, he said again that America would not take part in any Israeli retaliatory attack on. So he's already telling you that there's the potentiality of Israel deciding. That was when we were still waiting to see whether Bibi Netanyahu will decide not to retaliate, because this was a win-win for both of them. Biden is saying that if they decide to, that America will not take part in it. He's not even saying we are going to impress it upon him not to attack. You see, that was when I knew. I understand how to read these people's body language. I know when they say a word, I can tell you a million things they are not saying. I knew that was what was going to come. And that was exactly what came. Bibi said, we're going to strike. And now the War Cabinet has been meeting, back-to-back meetings, on how do we strike? When do we strike? Is it going to be the nuclear facility in Iran? Is it going to be this one? Is it going to be that one? I can bet you that's what they are deciding right now. And while they were deciding, while we were still waiting for Bibi to decide whether he's going to strike, European nations that have embassies in Iran began to send away the non-essential staff of the embassies and tell them to go home. And now, and after that, when Bibi now announced that, oh, we are going to strike Iran, they have all asked their people to get out of Iran. If nothing is going to happen, why are they all going out? Because they know that Bibi is going to strike. And when he strikes and Iran responds, they know that America is going to come to the aid of Israel, because that American support for Israel, as Biden keeps telling you, is ironclad. And the NATO guys are good. The same guys who have supported Ukraine are the guys who are behind Israel today. And now who benefits from this? 3 different beneficiaries. Number 1, let's start from Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi Netanyahu's government or regime is in tatters without war. If he is not fighting any war, the Israelis will hit the streets and get him out of power within just a matter of days. The only thing that keeps him there is that there is a war going on, and Iran just handed him on a platter of gold an extension of his regime. Imagine if they didn't attack. Bibi will be fighting, looking for how to extend, how to get something to do. People were already getting tired of him bombing Gaza, going to Lebanon. Nobody cared anymore. If you like, go and kill everybody there. There had to be something very significant that the Israeli public would really look at and say, oh my goodness, the nation is at war. And when Iran begins to attack, all the people are going to be inside the underground bases and bomb shelters, taking cover. And even beyond that, you cannot remove or change a commander-in-chief during the time of war. So an extension has been won. What about Biden? Biden, I have told you, with Trump, I said to people, one of the major or the shortest cuts to stopping Donald Trump is to get America directly involved in a war outside the U.S. soil. Directly involved. The moment America is at war, Biden stays on. Trump then doesn't become president. And once he loses the cycle of elections of becoming president, he would never rule America again. Case closed. I told you it's either pandemic or they kill him or they start a war. I said it in my videos. So this is also going to benefit the US president. The third beneficiary, the NATO alliance, the European colonial entities, who are also working with America to back Iran to suppress or subdue Russia. The moment the war starts, they remove the big enemy called Iran. And then eventually, there's no way you start a war with Iran that is not going to degenerate into a World War III. And then eventually, they get to deal with Russia, who has posed such a massive threat to them. Russia, as I've told you in many videos, is decapitating the colonial enterprise on the continent of Africa. The generational colonial enslavement that Africans have suffered for years, for generations, is being destroyed in real time by Russia, as Russia begins with the Francophones, with the French colonies in Africa, taking them away from the shackles of French colonial influences. And as they are destroying that and saving these guys, making them kick France out of their countries in Africa, I have told you that once they finish with the Francophone ones, they are going to go to the ones that are British colonies and then go to the colonies of all the other states in Europe, maybe Germany, talking about Namibia, and then all those other countries in Europe that have like 1, 2, 3 colonies. The biggest shares go to France and the UK. So when they finish with France, which is the worst case of any form of neocolonialism you've ever seen in your life on the continent of Africa, when they finish with them, as they are losing nations left, right, and center, they're going to start with the, British colonies in Africa. So these guys know this. They know that Russia is a mega threat that must be removed. And that's why I told you that there is nothing anybody will say to tell me that these guys, though, they want the war. Whether you like it or not, this war must happen. Because the war is meant to reset the world and hand power over to them. If you don't, in the next few years, they will have no power, because the source of livelihood is the resources they steal from Africans. Who does know this in the 21st century? Everybody knows this. And now, for the first time, we have a superpower behind our backs saying, go, break loose, get out of the prison. I will be here watching. I want you to get home. I'll kick the guards out and let you get out of this prison. And it's happening. Prison breaks everywhere in Africa. Senegal just joined. And many more are on the wait list to break loose. This is why they won the war, and they want it big. And the moment Israel strikes Iran and Iran strikes back, go write it down. The World War has started. Many of all these nations you're looking at, all the nations that you've been hearing their names, all of them are going to get roped into that war. America, the whole of Europe, Russia, North Korea, everybody is going to get into that war. Write it down, say that I told you so. And it looks pretty much like it's eventually going to happen. You see why I've been telling people to take precaution. Right now, as Iranians went to the street to rejoice, to say that, hey, our country has dealt with Israel, immediately after rejoicing, a few hours later, they all rushed to their petrol stations in their cars, queuing for petrol because they want to fill their tanks in case of any attempt, so they can be able to jack back from their country. In other words, get out of their country. Because now the rumors of Israeli attack has grown stronger and stronger, and you bet it's coming. And it's going to be very, very intense. It will be very provocative, such that Iran cannot let it pass. And when Iran now comes this time around, they're not going to tell you when the missiles are coming. They're not going to tell you the route they're taking. You're not going to be ready. You don't even know how they're going to come. And they have way, way, way more dangerous weapons than what they used to put up that show yesterday. Now, let's paint this scenario together. Say Israel strikes now, tomorrow, or next, or whenever. And Iran hits back hard. And all the nations that need to, because of course American military arsenals are already there in Israel. Their assets are everywhere. Warships, fighter jets, name them, military personnel, everything you need is there. Europeans have also, of course, you know, yesterday when this was happening, France, UK, America, they helped to intercept all those drones and missiles, and they helped to shoot them down. They've already started working even at the preliminary stage of Iran putting up that show, not to talk of when the real thing happens. So they're ready. They're already all set. So imagine that happens, and everybody gets on, and the war ensues. As America gets involved, Iran is not just bombing American installations or sites or bases in the region. They're going to be looking to get stuff across the U.S., and that brings us to why American cities and states have been doing drills. Drills in case there's an attack on the U.S. And I've been telling you since 2022, even before that, to beware that this thing you see crawling like this is leading us to this end. What would you do? Go find bomb shelters near your city where you live. Go and find it. You have got nothing to lose. When you finish saying it, people will say, what do you want me to do? I've been living here for a long time. Do you want, but when the bomb comes, let me know who you're going to ask what they should let you do. That's why when these things happen, sometimes I feel like, you know what, I don't want to be bothered. Because no one I know has screamed and cried out for this more than myself. I can beat my chest and tell you this. I tell people, be proactive. Don't wait till the bullet hits you like a buck in the head before you take action. Move away from the big cities if you can. Get out and go to Africa if you can. If you can. Too many things I have proposed for you guys. Take precaution. These guys are on a suicide mission. They are losing their generational livelihood, which is Africa. And they can't let that happen. They need to fight. They need war to reset everything, so that they can bring on the fourth industrial revolution that is controlled by robots. They want mass depopulation. They want so many things. We know, we've been talking about it for the longest time. And we are there now. And you still don't even think that is anything worth paying attention to. Everyone is panicking, waiting for Israel's strike. What are you doing? Because it's coming. G7 has met, and all they can do is just condemn Iran and say, well, we stand by Israel. You know what it means? We stand by Israel. Whatever Israel does, if you come back to attack Israel, to retaliate, we will stand with Israel. It's like watching a movie. It's not even a suspense-filled movie. I feel like it's a Nollywood movie because I already know the end of it before the movie even got into the second or third minute. I know who's going to play what role, what's going to happen. It's not a suspense-filled movie. It's predictable. And yet, people are not taking this thing seriously. Anyway, I just said I should let us know. I think, as you can see, it's already a long video. I hope that you can bear with it. I just don't have any time to myself anymore. But I know that I owe you this. Please share this video, and please remember to subscribe to our channel and also click on the notification button, as always, so that whenever we upload videos, you will be among the first to be notified. But please, above all, share this video and warn your loved ones who live in the western part of the world. The guys that lead these nations are under a spell. They're not actually the leaders. The leaders are in the shadows, and those leaders are desperate because they are losing their means of livelihood, which is the treasure-rich continent of Africa. And they can't let that happen. That's what this is all about. And also they want to usher in a global government, a tyrannical, satanic government, one-word government that will generate as much glory as possible for the devil himself and enslave all of humanity, if not wipe them out. That's what the mass depopulation program is all about. All these things we've been talking about for so long, and it's all coming to a head now. And all you can do is what? Be vigilant, be sober, and know that your adversary, the devil, is roaring around, seeking whom he may devour. But the Bible tells us that 1,000 may fall by our side, 10,000 by our right hand, but it will not come near us. Be vigilant. That's the word I leave you with today. Be vigilant. Be proactive. Do what is right when the time is right. I love you, man. God bless you.